Welcome back from that short break, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dysart. I'm joined on the desk now by Nan for our final game of the night. It'll be Pretty Boys versus It's a Wonderful Day for Pie.
Yep, we will be having the debuts of the final two teams. Well, actually excluding the team who was not even in these relegations, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, hopefully should be somewhat competitive with the two lineups we've got going on. First up is It's a Wonderful Day for Pie. Run us through it, Dice.
Oh, it's a wonderful day for Pie. I love that logo. First of all, big shout out to Gangster Sexy. They have got Vematron in the solo lane. It's your boy Sean in the jungle. Vintage 4 in the middle lane. Young leg support. And Thesaurus is going to be their ADC. That's a hell of a team. That scares me. A lot of great players split up between teams of old, and I think this is really interesting. An interesting grouping of people. We've never really seen Thesaurus play with these guys. Young legs moving over to support here is really interesting. Obviously, having Sean in his main role of jungle alongside Vintage and mid is really, really potent. I love this team, None.
Yeah, it's a nice little combination of the sort of the top and second place teams of previous OCL seasons, kind of like Smite chickens with a little mix of League of Legends back in the day, and then various teams from that. And yeah, I think this is definitely just from lineups, one of the front runners, I would say, and very keen to see how some of these players get on with each other.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's any animosity between anybody on this team. Like these are all pretty nice people. Um, I like them all from all of the people there that I've met, and it feels like they're going to synergize together really well. And of course, the one team that's not in relegation, the team that were able to immediately go through the threats, I think that this team is probably the top contender for their position in first seed at the moment.
Yeah, I am hoping the distant first place team curse will be broken this season. I'm very confident of it, to be honest. Especially as all these teams kind of develop along. I'm not ruling out a battle, between three or four teams for the top spot. I reckon even fourth or fifth place team could be taking games off the first and second place teams. So definitely a lot to look forward to in this season so far.
Yeah, very reminiscent of season two in that regard, with how competitive this season is looking already in those top positions. And speaking of being reminiscent of season two, some old names coming back here on the other side against It's a Wonderful Day for Pie. If we could have a quick look at the other team here, Pretty Boys. Pretty Boys coming out.
My gosh, we got some old names. I believe now I'm no OCE history expert, but Tompo, I swear I've seen him on an OPL team at some point. Am I
And not
am I
only have you seen
right?
Pompo on an OPL team, you've also seen, with a different name, the person piloting Ning Shaola 5, Galen.
That would be Galen. Yes, I remember Galen all too well. I actually remember when he streamed once upon a time for a very brief period, and boy, those were some golden times. Yeah, so there's definitely some experience there, that's for sure. And then we've got La House back in the support role, I should say. I don't think he's played support on her team. Am I wrong in that yet for
I,
OCL?
I don't think I've seen him play support for OCL. I think he's played jungle, he's played solo. Support, I think, is really nice to be able to see him on. I think between House Tompo and Galen or Ningshala, you've got like a really, really potent core sort of team going on there of experienced players who have been around the scene for quite a while. And then you've got Moxie and Solo, who again has been an up and comer and has looked really good in the past few seasons. And Azima, who I think in the middle lane has not played at all in OCL so far.
Yeah, I believe that's an OCL debut. Now, I've seen this name for quite a long time in casuals, I believe. Definitely a name I've remembered, because, solid player. So definitely no one to scuff at, even if it is his debut. And Moxie, yeah, in solo. I believe he has been in OCL before, right? On previous,
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
remember which teams? What teams was he a part of? Do you remember?
Oh, Moxie. I don't want to say it was. I don't think it was Shell Shock.
Cash money. I'm seeing.
Cash Money. I'm
Sub
feeling.
sub for Carter team. That's what I'm seeing in in our secret chat. So yeah. Anyway, some experience there, some OCL experience. So even though it's quite a sort of a few unfamiliar names in terms of OCL history, definitely some experience on this team. So experience in OCE that can take you a long way. So I wouldn't rule this game out as a stomp in one direction, that's for sure. Or hopefully it's somewhat competitive. What do you reckon, Dice?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would hope that this is going to be a competitive game. I think regardless though, no matter who wins here, you've got it's a wonderful day for Pi, who are obviously coming in as probably the favourites in the relegations. But Pretty Boys, I think if you give them time to sort of maybe get some of the rust off them a little bit, and sort of bring back a lot of the OPL knowledge that they've got, just in terms of how to improve in OCE and in what ways you can play together, that's where you've got a really strong team coming in for the rest of the season.
And I've just read from the chat, Carter saying Moxie is support, House is jungle. So
Okay.
House jungle. Now I believe is this the jungler who was playing Hunbat's who was playing
Yeah.
Bastet, lost connection, and proceeded to get a kill after losing connection? That
Not
is
only did
the,
he
the
do that,
same House jungle.
he did that to my team in season
So
2.
I'd love to see a repeat of that at some stage. Actually, maybe some more Bastet gameplay, some more DCing. Who
Absolutely.
knows?
I'd love to see that from a third person perspective as well, as opposed to it happening to my team. That'd be
So
nice.
House Jungle Moxie support. Who does that put in solo then?
House Jungle
That
Mock
would put
Support puts
Tompo solo?
Tompo and Solo. That's strange. I think that
Right.
you definitely want Tompo and Jungle for this team.
Okay, because I did scrim these guys. My team did scrim them the other week, and I think
Mm.
they did have this configuration we're seeing on screen right now. So it must have been a fairly recent change. So yeah,
Yeah,
interested to see. Obviously, they've made this change thinking it will benefit them. I hope to see it. Yeah, so it'll be interesting what kind of gods they have up their sleeve for their new roles, I guess.
yeah, I'm very excited to see how this one goes and how they play with this, with these roster changes here. Hopefully, it won't be too long before we go into P's and B's between these two teams.
Absolutely. As we're getting in, it will be Pretty Boys. No, not Pretty Boys. It's a wonderful day for Pi, order side, first pick, and see what bands they're going to start out with.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we'll see some of the standard, but wow, Ram off the bat actually from It's a Wonderful Day for Pie. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean I mean, I don't think they're necessarily. I guess actually, I can see the Ram band. Inshallah, historic traditional hunter player, right? He's been around for a while, and I'm sure Rama would have been one of those picks. Very strong character back in the day. And I see Ninshallah being a really strong point in this Chaos side team. So I can see the Rama pick and then an E-Shell return ban. That's interesting.
That is interesting considering she's banned during relegations. Unlucky, but you do get that on the big jobs. Maybe a bit of a throwaway ban, maybe not perfectly communicated by us that Eggshell is banned, or Eggshell, sorry, is banned. As the Agni is going to be thrown on the other side by It's a Wonderful Day for Pie, followed by the Marticarus. Pretty
Marty
boys.
Chorus ban. Now that's a good ban. I mean, I don't know if they've seen this in action from Vintage, but I know 100% he's probably the strongest Marty mid player right now, from what I've seen at least. I haven't really seen Luke playing him at all. I don't play ranked though, so yeah, good ban and then a Circuit ban in return.
Yeah, I mean, some standard bands there, the Socket, the Agni, pretty common. But yeah, that Marticarus band, you're absolutely right. Getting it away from Vintage is really strong to be able to do. Just getting anything that Vintage is comfortable on off of him, I think, is really smart. And it's going to be the Terror here, Hovered, and immediately locked in as well. It's a wonderful day for Pie for first pick.
Wow, I'm gonna have to. I don't think I can even remember far enough back to know what Legs' kind of preferences are in support. I remember him for his Yamoja, and that's about it. I don't think he would have really played the Hell if it was open. I could be wrong. But I love Terra as a pick. I think she's one of the top supports, and she's just so versatile, so aggressive, and good pick up. I reckon good solid first pick.
Yeah, definitely like the Terror here, 4 legs. You're right. Very versatile. He's going to allow you to kind of build a team comp around her. There's not really great counter picks for her here, other than like you could maybe get something with a cripple, maybe an Ardio for solo here to just prevent Terra from being able to dash. But still, a really really potent first pick. On the other side, though, Tombo's going to be hovering this hub wire for jungle.
Yeah, I mean, Terra has some weaknesses, no CC immunity, and then, crippled or any kind of interrupt can really hurt her. One of her strengths, though, is knock-up immunity, and that happens to be one of the main proponents in Hebo's kits. So, nevertheless, still a strong god, Hebo, but and then Yamoja as well. A nice return, kind of balance out what kind of healing Terra can provide, and both very good team fight gods. So, definitely a support pick that makes sense here.
Yeah, a lot of water heavy gods there for
Yeah.
this. So I'd like to see maybe a Zeus here counter that out as the Guan Yu's going to be hovered
Yeah,
and
we're
locked in here.
seeing some H2O enjoyers, that's for
Oh
sure.
yeah,
And Fenrir,
some
Fenrir, that's a nice pick into this top two for Chaos side here. What's their team name again? I need to get used to these
pretty
teams.
boys,
Help me out, guys. Pretty
pretty
Boys.
boys.
Yeah, Fenrir, a lovely pick here for both Hebo and Yamoja. Obviously, does not care about knock-up immunes when he's in that Brutalize. And then also follows people, I believe, follows people through the Yamoja 3 as
The
well. So,
Riptide?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
As well,
Um,
Yamoja also no CC immunity. So that might force a beads pickup as well.
Yeah, I'd be hoping to see the Umoja getting the beads here. Thor locked in as well for Pretty Boys. I think that a big part of the reason that we saw a lot of pain for Crimson Knights last game was that Jed9 didn't start with beads and he was constantly on the arse end of Ares ult. And he really, really suffered for it, just not able to beads himself out of that. I'd like to see a beads for Umoja here. Otherwise, this Fenrir not only can target out the Hebo, um, his natural prey, but also can really just go ham on this Umoja.
And I mean, just think like this Yamoja actually has a really good opportunity to counter this Fenrir. If you think Fenrir tries to yoink one of Yamoja's teammates towards the enemy and she can riptide them back
Yeah,
to her.
yeah,
And that's another thing if she doesn't get beads and she gets pulled herself, well, she's not really any use when she's being CC'd herself. Anyway, back
absolutely.
into phase two bans, Merlin banned and then Sononos banned. Strong picks, both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Kernono still provides a lot of pressure in that duo lane. Merlin and Yu Huang now as well, actually. So really just trying to take options away from Vintage. I like that as well. Just anything that he's going to be strong on, and especially gods like Merlin who have really, really strong play on objectives right now. I think a really smart band here for Pretty Boys.
Yeah, maybe they don't know vintage as well as I possibly do with some of his mid lane preferences. I would probably be looking at more of like Tiamat bands. I think Merlin's a good one. I could kind of see vintage playing Merlin, but really I think he's very much likes those in your face kind of characters and probably wouldn't shy away from hunters or who knows what else. I feel I see vintage as very much like a assassin warrior player even, but two very standard hunters band on the side of it's a wonderful day for Pi. I really need to shorten that team name. And Horace picked in response for House.
Yeah. I think those standard hunter bands again are really smart here for pie-based individuals knowing a game they're going on very likely to play one of those traditional hunters. Horace pick again, really strong. We did see a lot more of Horace sort of a little bit before the start of this season of OCL going into that solo lane. It was like a lot of sort of Horace for mana. But it'll be interesting to see how it's piloted over here. Meanwhile, Jingwei locked in and Neath hovered. It's a wonderful day for Pi.
Ooh, if I picked Jingwei into that comp, even though I'd never played Jingwei in my life, boy, I'd be feeling good right now. Neath as well. Those are two very nice kind of picks with lots of utility and safeness. I think that would be Neath mid, right? Don't you think?
It
Yeah.
would be.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you've still got sort of not a lot of magical damage on Team Pi. In saying that, if this Terra builds any kind of damage item, I think
Yeah.
that'll almost be covered. To be honest, that's what I'd be doing certainly. And a Hu Yi hover in return, maybe just like a flavor pick for Ning
I mean,
Xiaola. I mean,
that's
nothing.
that's a traditional
Yeah,
hunter from back in the day.
certainly is.
I think the only struggle right now with Hoye is probably around the starts at the moment. It is a little bit hard to find a nice triple bounce in the early game.
Yeah,
Gonna
oh,
switch
and
over
that's
towards this
being
Artemis Bomber.
changed.
Also a traditional hunter. It's hard to
So
get much more
So
Traditional, but Artemis.
traditional update her icon.
Yeah, true. She looks great though. Um, yeah, I
I
think you're
love
right. Maybe this Terra going towards like a Chronos pendant or a Spear of Deso would be really nice to really just,
Yeah, 100%.
find that magical damage for this team here. Um, I like the Artemis pick. I like, Artemis Thor have really good combo, are going to set up well for this Harbois. And if you can throw the River's Rebuke down, have the Emoja walls to prevent sort of a lot of these gods that can't jump over it, the Terras and Neaths, and similar gods as well, then you've got a lot of potential coming out for picks and for good team fights here for Pretty Boys. No, I'm forgetting that.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's talk about which kind of comp we're favoring right now, ignoring the players on the teams. I mean, me personally, ignoring the players, I still am in favor of Team Pie's comp, and that's mainly just down to kind of how their picks kind of work with each other. I really love the Neath and Terra combination there.
Mhm.
Guan's a really nice pick, and Fen and Jingwei are both like really good counter picks into what Pretty Boys have lined up here. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I do. I do really like what Pretty Boy. What if the Wonderful Day for Pi have got lined up for themselves here? It is very much a counter pick sort of comp, and it seems a lot more current meta style of team comp. But I think the Pretty Boys have lined themselves up with a really nice sort of traditional style of team comp. They've
Yeah,
got
I agree.
setup, they've got Thor, they've got Artemis. It is very CC heavy traditional, and if they can play that traditional style, then they can win with that traditional style. And in that case, I love their team comp.
Yeah, I don't think the characters Pretty Boys have is definitely a disadvantage to them. I think it will still come down to the gameplay. So, did you want to throw it over now? With that being said, Dice.
I think we are just about ready to throw it over to the casters. Lath and Abspro, take it, please.
Oh, hey guys, what is up? It is Lath. I'm back. I'm once again with my good friend Abs Pro. We
Hey man,
just waiting on a stream here. It's unfortunate. Don't know what's going on here.
what's going on, lad?
But
You're going.
oh, not much, man. Not much.
Nice.
Hanging out.
Sorry. Sorry, man. Not bad.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, all right, perfect. Anyway, I'm just looking at these team comps, man. Very interesting. First thing I have to say is, it's a wonderful day for Pi, which, by the way, we need to shorten that. I have no idea how to shorten it. Maybe we just say Pi or something. I don't know. Either way, first thing I noticed, this is for physical. Their only magical is the support.
I mean, Terra can do work. I think we have our analysts who pick that up right away. Chronos Pendant's all you really need for Terra. Her ult does chunks of damage. With what comp they've got, that Terra ult can really do some damage. If you have a Guan Yu Teller Assault, when the Terra ult is on you, you will be shredded for some damage. So I think all she needs is a little bit of damage, and their magic damage is absolutely covered. They have so much pressure on this side. I mean, I have to say it is actually a wonderful day for Pi.
Oh man, what a great name. I'll tell you what, a little bit of lore behind that name. We were talking to Vintage a while ago when this team was trying to sort out what their team name was going to be. And he said that Sean had shut down every single Family Guy reference that he had tried to get for the name. And then this name came out and it was like IAWDFP. Everyone was like, oh, what does it mean? And they were saying, oh, you'll find out. And then we found out that Vintage actually got his... Wait, it is a Family Guy reference from the Disney episode. The multiverse episode where they go to the Disney World, I believe.
Wow, that is some Family Guy knowledge.
Oh, good double stop from Sean onto a Zemo. No help left to knock up. Let's keep him alive for a second though. He will end up falling for First Blood to Sean, but House gets a kill on the back end of it.
That's fantastic. Like, Realize did so much work in that one fight, and who cares if you're dying? You're getting that First Blood. You're getting that extra gold. That's 300 gold up for... It is a wonderful day for Pi. 1 minute, 20 seconds in.
Yeah, look, obviously not great for Sean personally to take the spill there, but it does put a Zemo a little bit behind it, and I think at this point in the game it's probably better. You don't want this Evo getting online, you don't want the water hands chunking all the damage. You know, the Thor is at the strongest point of his game. Late game is going to become a little bit harder for House to play, become more of just like the dive in, get out kind of god as he is. Posturing into the duo lane right now. He is a blink for a OCE special.
Definitely an OCE special. I do like Pretty Boiz' comp. They have a lot of Fortnite players, a lot of building walls, a lot of walls from the Emoja, walls
That is-
for. I like it.
Lincoln from Sean gets the beads out of his emote. He gets out safely, but probably the best time to lose beads, right? Before that Ragnarok, you know, Sean's still got 2 levels to go. Hopefully those beads will be coming back relatively soon, or hopefully he can at least hit level 5 so that he can just crushing wave to immune that Ragnarok.
Wow, Sean really putting the pressure on in this mid lane. He really does not like the OCL debut Zemo. Already 1 kill down, no, not a problem. We have seen Hebo do a lot of work far from memory, but we'll have to see how this game goes. I do like how much Sean putting on the pressure here. He is getting his transcendence soon. Not yet stacked, looking for a Game King duo. I wonder if anything will come from it.
Doesn't look like it. It looks like he's just going to take that little cooldown buff, pick that up for a... No, he decided to take it for himself. Screw you, Vematron, you're not getting that. You get a blue buff, enjoy it.
And enjoy it, he will. Guan Yu very famous for his mana sustain, so if he could get that blue buff, and he does, he'll be fine in lane. Even against a Horus, he'll be fine.
I did notice he did actually go a multi-pot on the Guan Yu, maybe expecting to lose the blue buff early, or maybe just that's how bad the mana sustain is for the Guan Yu.
Pretty smart play. A lot of players do know how much pressure Sean does put on blues. We've seen the pressure he's put on Azemo already, so smart play just to get that ready, but who knows.
Look, I will say one thing. It is exciting to see a team, obviously, you know, the wonderful Pie Boys. All of these players have been around for a while. Sean, one of the winners of last season, along with Vintage. Demetron, Young Legs, finished 2nd place, I do believe. Theg obviously goated. He finished 2nd season 1 and season 2 on Chickens.
Might be finishing first here.
Oh god, Moxie's picked up by the Ragnarok. Dora's taken to the sky. Sean gets the Moxie kill just before, after, the Rivers Rebuke comes out. Galen gets away. Oh no, Sean walks into a trap. Oh, good body blocks by Legs just to keep him alive there. That's,
Wow.
only Moxie will fall.
That is funny. I reckon Moxie pressed his 4 key about 20 times before he had enough Omi to cast River's Rebuke. Just gets it off. Fortunately, doesn't save his life, but he will fall just short of getting his Gauntlet of Thieves, or it could be the Cloak as well. So, will be interesting to see what he goes into as well.
Can I just say what I really hope that this tier 2 health tree item is? God, I hope this is a Cannoneer's Cuirass. Please, 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 Moxie. Bring it out. I'm so disappointed we've had 3 sets tonight and not a single Cannoneer's Cuirass has been built. It is my favorite item in the game. I love it so much. There's nothing funnier than just bumping one of the... Hang on.
Neath
Tompo
ult.
goes to the sky. Neath ult absorbed. Good move by Tompo.
Tompo gets out for free. No worries. I do like that Tompo gets his ult there, just in case. Could be very good game knowledge to know that there is a Neath on the map, and as soon as he hits level 5, it could be any time that he gets pressured on. So Sean puts a lot of pressure on mid, but just to scare Moxie out a little bit, maybe into him getting the Cannoneers.
No, he does go for the Gauntlet of Thebes. I will stay disappointed in these relegation games today. Maybe a certain jungler will need to pick up a Cannoneer's Cuirass in his next game. I'm not going to say any names.
We'll be waiting for it. We have to give all the props to Azemo in his OCL debut, but I am still waiting for the Cannoneers debut, so perhaps soon, Lath. I think you're right. Maybe in the next few weeks, next few plays, we might see it. I'm very, very happy for it to come.
Yes, I'll tell you what we will see though. We will see a Zemo fall again to just Sean and Vintage. I mean, these are 2 historically strong early gamers, the Neath and the Fenrir. You probably just need to keep some walls up that area, right? I don't know if they... Hang on, Tusky comes out. Theg takes the sky legs. Just attempting to walk away. He has popped that ultimate. Does get the double dash. He's out. Probably not the worst trade at all for Pretty Boiz. I mean, obviously using Galen's ult, which is a lot of survivability, but you trade for both duo laners ultimate on the side. So I'd be taking that as a win.
I think that's a bit of a win. They're in their jungle, they get out for free, not much else happens. Taking some ult is always a good idea. They might be playing for some buff timers, who knows. We have seen some very strong players. He's one of the 5 winners, so Sean jumping onto Zemo in the back.
Yeah, he's jumping onto a Zemo. Zemo does get that crushing wave though, and House comes down with the Anvil Dawn, gets the Tectonic Rift off, and is still on the chase here. Sean manages to get away. The Blink Sword not quite enough to secure that kill, and Vintage is just running back, trying to shoot some arrows at Moxie House. With no Miona's attunement, is stuck. It finally comes up, and he does hammer out. And oh baby, is it hammer time.
Vintage jumping over the wall. Wow, backflip straight up. That was a style kill. That was lovely from Vintage to pick that up. I'm in awe of what Vintage can really do. To sit in the back line, he has enemy players on him, yet he takes no damage. And he's still comfortable enough to backflip over a tectonic rift and get a kill.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I'm kind of curious about how he was just kind of sitting in there. Maybe a bit of tunnel vision there from Pretty Boys. Instead of just looking at who was in front of them, they were just chasing down the low health kill. Like, I mean, you saw House took to the skies, flew all the way to the back line, hammered in, blinked in, just to get into range of Sean and still didn't get the kill. Maybe he just kind of dumps all that into Vintage, at least takes the beads, and he can find another. If he doesn't get the kill there, he can find it in, you know, another 60 seconds or so.
I think that's it. Vintage knows that he saw the house do what he did by getting to this guy, blinking in, so he has nothing to worry about in the back line. Pressure again.
No, Zemo, no.
Oh, he's just falling. The water is not saving him.
I'm starting to wonder. I mean, we saw him pick some bands that Wonderful Day for Pie took the Terror first, I believe. In that
Pressure.
first pick. Hang on a second. Ultimate use, Vintage picks up House. It's another spill for the jungler, and Blaze is still done. He's running on a tier 1 tower, but
They put some more.
I'm assuming his teammates called him out of there.
I think he wanted to deal some magic damage. He is the only magic damage, but you know what? He got some. So there's some numbers for the charts.
Anyway, it's back to what I was implying before. I think, can these guys stop on him?
You might not get a chance.
Hang on. Tusky does come out. Whirlwind comes onto Galen. He is in a lot of trouble here. 200 health, gone. Lightning Legs will secure that kill. Magical damage coming in, but House is taken to the sky. Everyone doing against both targets. They're going to world of hurt here, and a perfect little updraft. Might see him get away. Oh, that's a beautiful root, and the Mjolnir's achievement does get attuned properly. He picks up the legs, kind of just having a bit of a beef here with House. He's just fired on him.
I think he knows that Sean's coming, and
Sean.
Henry picks up Sean. Whoa,
Sean blinks past both targets, brutalizes into a trap, and then gets crushing wave by Zemo at the back end of the fight. First kill on the board for Zemo in the OCL. You'll love to see that.
If there's ever a fiesta in OCL, it was probably that. But you know what? It's all fun and games in Game 4 Relegations of OCL. This is a lot of fun. You know, we have seen a lot of fighting in a few of these games, and that was the perfect example of it. What are we looking at? That purple buff is almost halfway respawned, and that's when the fight started. So there's a lot of fighting going on.
Alright, back to my point. Hopefully there's no more fighting. I wonder if they took that Terror in the first one just to take a pick and then leave that Hebo open. Maybe, you know, maybe this Fenrir was always on the cards. What do you think, Abs? Because it's a counter to Hebo, you know, it's a pretty well-known counter, and I mean, we've seen it in play so far this game.
I think that OCE is not picking up an Aphrodite, so hold on, there's another Neathol discharge. So much fighting.
Yeah, another World Weaver followed into the updraft by Theg. There were a couple people oh, okay, I think Sean is actually lagging here. Do you see that little stutter step he just had?
Well, maybe last we could go back to your point. I think you're right in saying that it was probably always on the cards for the Fenrir to be picked. Hebo, a very strong contender in his hands right now, so letting it get through, get countered is probably a smart way to go. This isn't, it's a wonderful day for Pie's first rodeo, so that's exactly why they're able to pick up a Gold Fury uncontested.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of that comes down to Vematron, right? You know, he's just in the enemy red buff with 3 people, you know, and they don't know whether to go on him. He's a pretty healthy Guan, level 12 so far in the game, you know, ahead of the entire enemy team. And he just runs in, gets a couple tail assaults, and the enemy his team take the Gold Fury.
I think this is the perfect example of a solo island game. We haven't really seen anything from the solo laners. Not really expecting them to. It's only going to be a few minutes until we start seeing them for this Pyromancer, as it is spawned now. He could even be posturing for it now, getting some wards up, getting ready for it. They might look to pick this up as Pretty Boys might not be able to contest.
Yeah, I feel like all the games tonight actually have been very non-solo related as Sean leaps in, but good bit of CC coming out of Moxie. Hang on, Amber throws up in the air. He misses Sean from the looks of it. Does get picked up. Unfortunately, doesn't have any sort of beads to secure a kill. Sean gets away, House gets away. No trade so far.
The ults, no kills, but we see Guan on the horse. He is looking for a cavalry charge.
Yeah, that cavalry charge in the back line. The target, from the looks of it, is Moxie for him. The rest of the team going for Tompo. A bit of a split here. Them stuck by that tectonic rift, and oh man, the explosion takes Moxie right off the map.
He got Fortnited. Easy wall, easy kill, and Thing picks up Fireman, so it should be an easy pick up. That's both objectives for the wonderful day for Fire. And you know what? It is a wonderful day for Fire because it's always a wonderful day for Fire. Laugh, I want to see how many times you can say that in a row.
No. I'll leave that to you. You can keep dropping "It's a wonderful day for Pie" if you want. I don't really want to keep saying "It's a wonderful day for Pie" because "It's a wonderful day for Pie" is a really long name.
Hey, well, you know what? You did pretty well there. So maybe it is a wonderful day for Pie. There's back camps taken away. A lot of pressure putting on.
Oh, hang on. Legs is fortnighting onto Tompo. Tompo can't really get away. No way he can get into the skies here, and he does fall to Sean. That's just a good pick, and I mean, we see "It's a wonderful day for Pie" dropping wards in the jungle, counter warding especially, just to make sure that there's no vision for Pretty Boys, and Tompo always in a lot of trouble there. No beads, Legs for the teleport.
Fantastic grouping. I think they know they've got their pressure. They've got two objectives. They're confident enough to kill this Hebo without any counteraction at all. They're just running this map. It's a free right tower looking to pick up. Easy bastion. They've got complete control of this game so far.
Yeah, look, I really do think this game's just coming down to wall diff, right? I mean, when we look at each side, House only has one wall, Legs has two in one ability. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat that. You know, Fortnite at the end of the day, walls just win games, right?
I think Fortnite is always how you win games. The draft diff for Pretty Boys just isn't coming into effect just yet, but waiting for a huge River's Rebuke. Moxie just misses the Riptide. Gets away scot-free.
Moxie elects to use a Riptide rather than to cancel the back first. Unfortunate to see. That gets the back off. And elects to troll his jungler by doing the speed buff. You hate to see it. If that's a Wade right there, I'm screaming at him.
If your carry is taking your speed buff, or anyone is taking your speed buff other than the jungler, they need a stern talking to. So it'll be interesting to see what they do after this game, but interesting. I want to see Pretty Boys come back from this. I think they can go through getting starting one up. I'd like to see him get some wards here, get ready for this next fight.
Yeah, posturing around the area. Hang on, Worldweaver comes out onto Moxie of all people, and Vintage chasing House through the jungle. This is a level 16 Neath. Farthest ahead by far in the game. You know, 3 levels above the entirety of the enemy team. He's pretty huge here. Dragon Lane stuff on the ball theory and pretty much has no idea about this.
They're not really putting much pressure. I have to give props to them here just to put the pressure on. They know he's here. They can't step up, otherwise they have coverage.
Oh! Double Unchained from Sean just wipes his in off the map and does go into that Ragnarok. Elects to pick up Moxie, but that's Tusky coming out, and River's Rebuke splits us into fire. Does finally fall on the back line, and Vematron is up, just sending it. Thought in the Emperor Dawn.
Back to base. You know what? It's straight down to his speed buff, as he should.
Straight down there.
It's a nice, secure farm. I think he might have been looking for any cleanup kills. Probably didn't see him. That's okay. I don't know if it's a wonderful deck if I saw that. Vintage is charging the ult. Might not see any usage of it, but wow, Trumpo does see him, and there is a charge ult onto Galen. Left side, Nicola taking a bit of damage. Maybe Vintage just stat padding, getting some damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Vintage is doing nothing but stat padding here. He's trying to get that top damage. You can see Vematron when he presses the T tab. He refuses to lose top damage to his solo laner.
I think a bit of in-house fighting from It's a Wonderful Day for Pie. Maybe whoever has top damage gets Pie. Who knows with this team.
I did see a message from Vintage earlier saying that he's having issues with his solo laner. Maybe it is the fact that Vem is doing more damage than him right now on this league.
Laugh, I think that's a bit of drama. It might need to be covered in the nightly podcast.
Yeah, I think tune into the nightly podcast every fortnight, patch day, hopefully, or the day before. You'll find
The
out.
Pyromancer will not be checking into the nightly podcast as it falls 17 minutes in, and it's a wonderful day for Pi. Call it Fire Giant.
Oh
Yeah, he's knocked up.
They gets knocked up. This guy doesn't know how to take Fire Giant. Tombo in the area. I don't see the Stars being able to do anything. And the team still like to give it up. This is 17 minutes Fire Giant abs. It's not the end of the world for the boys and pretty boys.
It is not. I think they know to give that up. Whether they meant to or not, they do, and they might elect to get this tier 1 in left. They have no minions though. They should be able to just pick it up with the amount of damage that Ningxia has, as it's a wonderful day for Pi to pick up that right tier 2 tower. Not worth Fire Giant for tier 1 and a tier 2. So I don't know. I hope the Pretty Boys can bring this back. I want to see a huge Rivers review from Moxie. We have seen a few of them so far. If he lands more than 4 or 5 people in there, I think we might have a score.
We do see It's a Wonderful Day for Pi electing to just 5-man the tier 2 ahead. Very intelligent move. Take that one straight off the map. It looks like they could be posturing towards this tier 2 in the hero lane. Nope, maybe not. Maybe there'll be a couple backs out here. I'm not too sure what the boys are doing. I think it is getting a little hard here for the Pretty Boys. It is 11k at 18 minutes. It's not the most ideal situation. Yeah, 12k. And there you go. Vintage stat padding once again.
And there he is. He's up. He's on top.
Vintage is now top damage. You love to see it.
Exactly what he wanted. I think that was fine from It's a Wonderful Day for Pi. They got 2 towers. They can spend up. Fire Giant's still around their waist for at least 60 seconds, I'd want to say. So they can still push up this tier 2 in left. Pretty Boys wanting to retaliate with a tier 1 in right.
Demetron not letting this slide. Sunder's the Zemo. No, okay. Oh, come on, boys.
I think he can get away from this. Oh,
on,
no. Boys, gentlemen, man, you're leaving your OCL debut in the dust.
The Zemo. Oh my.
That's
dear.
tragic.
Okay, we need a fine system. Every single member on the Pretty Boys who backed there gets fined. That is criminal. Phoenix falls. I mean, Phoenix is probably always falling right there. Vintage does take Ningxia off the map. Good move was Rebuke. Sean trying to chase House. I don't think he's going to be able to get this kill. Fig gets Moxie in the back line, but hang on a second. While we were charging again, House gets chunked, has to use the beads. Does have the hammer to get out though.
Well, okay, well, we're already diving in the fountain for It's a Wonderful Day for Pi. That's 2 Phoenixes down. They could easily grab this right one. I'm not even sure they're going to. They might even just go for the end, or they might call it quits. Fire Giant spawning up relatively soon, so still around their waist. Could go for any objective here. Gold Fury up. I would want to see them start warding up for that Fire Giant, even if they needed to. They probably don't need to, but at this point, I think it's about the play damage shot.
Yeah, look, Vintage is trying his absolute hardest to get as far away from Demetron in that player damage. He needs the bragging rights. He does love a little bit of a stack pad. Yeah,
there's a lot of kills, so if anyone deserves it, it is Vintage charging up his World Weaver.
I've just noticed as well, Vintage has elected for the Fail Not. Look, I love Fail Not. I've loved Fail Not pretty much since it came into the game. I've always been a big Fail Not aficionado. I don't know about it on Neath. I mean, he has gone the Bluestone build and not, you know, like that one shot. Hang on a second.
There it is.
Hang on a second. While we were charging, looking for it. I have to assume no one's on the map right now, right?
He's looking for anything.
Hang on, check that left lane, check that left lane. Galen's about to show up.
There it
is,
is.
shots out. Oh, and there's the
half health, and there's the Fail Not damage. I think Fail Not's fine underneath, as long as he's ulting as much as he can. And he is essentially helping his team by doing this with Fail Not. So I gotta give it to Vintage for trying to get on top. He is at least 3,000 up right now. He should have this in the bag. unless Bambi's able to get a huge cavalry charge, we will see. Spite and Fight, I think it's coming soon.
They can't make much use of the fail, not if the target is on the other side of the map and Vintage can't get that, like, mark proc. But funny either way. I mean, half healthing. It's just funny seeing Galen walking up to the wave and knowing the second that he shows up on it, bam, he's getting sniped.
I think it is a wonderful day for Pylap as they charge towards this right Phoenix. It shouldn't be much longer. I want to see Pretty Boiz hit something huge here.
Yeah, look, the cavalry charge goes to the back line and Legs drops the ultimate, but Legs is gone.
Whoa.
Galen that kill and Amber Dawn is up. Fenrir, sorry, Sean in the Ragnarok, just kind of running away. House doesn't elect to land on anyone, hits the hill.
Vintage out. It's half health.
Vintage gets himself ahead. Vem actually doing a lot of damage in that last team fight.
I think he's really trying to bring us back.
Yeah, doing his absolute hardest to not give Vintage these bragging rights.
All three Phoenixes down for Pretty Boiz. The minions are charging in that left lane, going straight for the Titan. The amount of sustain that Vematron has with the Guan Yu is keeping him healed up, along with Fire Giant. A lot of pressure with onto Pretty Boiz, sorry. So it's going to be half worms to defend this with no towers, no Phoenixes. They only have a Horus ult and a Hebo ult. So this Hebo ult really needs to go crazy here if they want to take any damage.
Man, all I know is that Neath ult is 3/4 of the way to coming back, and I cannot wait. Vintage does get gone on here. Unchained comes out of Sean.
Horus
Doesn't
ult.
look like anything, but hang on. Horus is taken to the skies.
And lands on the Titan.
Yeah, it decides
Left
just
Phoenix
to-
coming up.
I mean, surely you just send it into Left Phoenix, right, to try and keep that away. They has to get out with that airstrike, but them coming into the back line here, and hang on, Vintage used that all. Holy schmoly's up to 19k damage. Sean leaves him with the Unchained. House taken off the map instantly. And look, Abs, this is looking like it could be an end call here. Ragnarok comes out of Sean, takes him up to the back line. There's no rooms of view for him. Good 3-4 man stun there.
Look, Lap, I think Vintage has it in the bag here. He's almost 5k up. There's another kill for him. Titan is falling very low, but a lot of kills coming out still for Vintage. More members of Pretty Boiz down. There's 5. And that's curtains for Pretty Boiz.
That's the deer side. That's the game. Look, man, I was watching the damage charts for the majority of that last fight. After they went into those last couple of Phoenixes, Vintage was on 17k, and I think Vem was on 15k. Vintage finishes on 25k. That is an 8k damage fight for Vintage. That is wild.
That's fantastic. I'm surprised that Sean only had 12,000 or 14,000 in that last fight. He did so much damage as well as Vem and Vintage. So congrats to the boys. Well done on making it through into the OCL. I think they did fantastically in that game.
Yeah, look, well done to the boys. You know, we always knew that It's a Wonderful Day for Pi was going to be a big contender for this league, so it's good to see them make it in straight away. Rough debut for Azemo. You know, I can't say too many negatives about it. I think that he did play relatively well. His team trolled him at that back in the tier 1 in solo, just kind of let him die to them. But I mean, it's a rough matchup, you know, to go into your first game playing Hebo, not exactly an easy to maneuver god, and getting slapped against Sean on the Fenrir. It is a rough one.
And that's it. Playing the Hebo into a Fenrir is never favorable. So unfortunate for Azemo. I know he does do work. I'm excited to see him in his next few games. So Pretty Boiz can come back. I am confident that they will be fine into making it into the OCL.
Yeah, as we've said a couple of times, they've still got 2 other games to go, but that's not for us to talk about. We're going to throw it back to the guys to break down the game and break down the standings.
Wow, wow, wow. I love a good team pie. How about you, Nan?
It's a wonderful day for pie. You can ask all the birds in the sky, and they'll tell you real sweet with a musical tweet. It's a wonderful day for pie.
That's pretty much how I felt that whole set, to be honest.
No, yeah, for sure. I completely understand. I can't imagine that a single person on said team pie are upset that that just happened. That was a hell of a game, and It's a Wonderful Day for Pie have made it through, as the boys on the cast have said, managing to take out Pretty Boiz there, but Pretty Boiz still had a good showing. Excellent to see all of these guys sort of coming out and showing what they're made of. House playing really well on that Thor. But there is a reason that It's a Wonderful Day for Pi are coming through, at the very least, I think, as favoured to be the top team out of relegations.
Absolutely. That's why I think analyzing this game, we probably won't have to spend 5-10 minutes going through it, because really it's just, I think that the difference in kind of strengths between the two teams right now, especially because what's their team name? What's their team name?
Pretty
Not
Boiz?
Wonderful, Pretty Boys. That's the one. They are a newer team, so I think rather than it just being a player diff, it's also just that that they haven't played as much recently and they haven't played together as much as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I wouldn't go so much into the nitty gritty of picks and bans and single out plays and whatnot. I think the Pretty Boys they have a long way to go to where I think they can see themselves at the end of this competition. So that's pretty much what I think it was down to. Definitely, I think the plays they made, with the Terra Neath and Fenrir for that fact, they had some great plays on Pi, but
Yeah.
again, it's really just the way the whole teams work together that I think made the difference in that game and why it was a fairly quick one.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're not going to be seeing the end of these teams just yet. Let's shoot over towards the bracket for the relegation season 4 of OCL. A quick look at what's going on. So we have just seen It's a Wonderful Day for Pi versus Pretty Boys. Pretty Boys are going to go into round 2 here. It's a Wonderful Day for Pi will go through to the regular season, and Pretty Boys will be versing our loser of match 4. That was Jack Martins versus Corrupted Crusaders, which means it will be for round 2, Corrupted Crusaders versus Pretty Boys. That's going to be quite an interesting lineup, though, match up there between those two teams, I think.
Absolutely, and so it'll be 2 games next week, and they're best of one. So I believe it'll be a same similar kind of stream. Maybe. Do you think we'll try and do those live? I
I think
guess we
we'll
haven't really looked
try.
into when they're gonna play, because they are best of one still.
One of those games has already been played.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's what the secret 5th stream that Bart wanted was.
Right. So
Um,
maybe when the other game gets played, we'll be able to do a stream kind of earlier next week rather than a Sunday.
yeah,
And
it might be
yeah.
nice if we can either do those two together, or even we can put it together with the sudden death game and get all of relegations sort of streamed out um, at once, maybe potentially.
Yeah, we'll definitely get all those organized behind the scenes and hopefully push through this relegations as quick as possible so we can start getting into the juicy meat of the season with the nice best of threes and really see how these teams develop.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get into that season. Of course, teams that have gone through today. It's a Wonderful Day for Pi. Um, Married Men, Gravity Finance, and the Jack Martins are all through to the regular season alongside the number 1 seed Threat. We will still continue to see Pretty Boys, La Bomba Prodigios, Crimson Knights, and Corrupted Crusaders competing for their position. Nan, is there anything else that you wanted to close out with tonight?
Ooh,
Shout
nothing in
out.
particular. Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, shout out to Redacted 100%. His first time piloting the camera, and he's probably done pretty much as good as a job as I would normally do. And I've spent ages perfecting, the kind of bits and pieces to make the broadcast seem as professional as we can get it to the SPL. So 100% shout out to Redacted. He's pretty much smashed it first time. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Yeah, I agree. Big shout out to Redacted. Huge shout out to Gangster Sexy for all of the fantastic graphics. Most of the team logos this season were done by him. He has not stopped working between stream graphics, Twitter graphics, all of it. So he's done an excellent job. Redacted. Everybody that was on the cast tonight, we had Simply, Young Legs, Abs Pro, Lap, myself, Nan, Redacted. Am I missing anyone? Chompy. So thank you very much to everybody there. Thank you very much to everybody for watching. I believe that we're going to try to find someone to raid really quickly. Any suggestions?
Ooh, I do see a certain Devane online, but if we have a look at
Let's have a quick
any of
look
the
to see if
big
anyone can
streamers, there's
mark.
no real big players currently streaming. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most viewed Smite channel currently,
Amazing,
so
wonderful, fantastic.
currently pretty dead in the Smite Twitch genre right now. So yeah.
All
Maybe
right,
good old Devane host.
let's raid Devane. That's fine.
Support the locals.
We do love the vocals. That's not gonna work as a mod. I'll have to do it on this one. All right, jump in the raid. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Just quickly before we go, I'll post that there and I'll post it here. Make sure you go check out our social medias and our Discord. Go give us some support. We'll be posting our VODs once again onto YouTube, and keep an eye out as well, of course, for the weekly podcasts that are going to be coming back shortly as well. Ladies and gentlemen, have an excellent night and thank you for joining us.